Even though God blessed King David greatly, King David wasn't perfect. He sinned in the account with Bathsheba. He sinned in the way that he dealt with, or rather didn't deal with, the problems that arose in his family. And I'm sure he sinned many other times in his life, as we all do. But here we read about how David sinned when he took a census. Counting people itself isn't wrong, but apparently David was counting them for selfish reasons. Maybe he wanted to see how great his kingdom was, or maybe he wanted to count them in order to tax them, or maybe he just didn't consult with the Lord first, and it was simply a pointless exercise that was bad stewardship for him and his people. Regardless of the motive, David once again sinned. And once again, David modeled repentance for us. He asked God for forgiveness and was willing to do whatever God wanted him to do. Part of his repentance required him to build an altar and to offer offerings on it. But when he went to buy the place where God told him to build the altar, the person who owned the land told him that he could have the land and the animals for free. To him, David was the king, and it was an honor for him to have David come and to build an altar on his land. But David insisted that he pay for both the land and the animals, saying that he would not offer a burnt offering to God that would not cost him anything. When God calls us to worship him, he isn't calling us to do what's easy and convenient for us. If our worship and repentance doesn't cost us something, we're doing it wrong. God desires that we worship him with all of our heart, and with all of our soul, and with all of our strength. Now this doesn't mean that worship is always painful, because God blesses us with far more than we can give him. And if we remember that, everything we give up for him is a joy. Seems like David really got that. He wanted to worship God out of the abundance that God had given him. We can't outgive God. And how can we say that our gifts to God are a sacrifice when God gave us his son? When we keep that in perspective, we give to God because he first gave to us. We love because he first loved us. It's not that we're trying to pay God back for all of his blessings, but it's just that we're overjoyed with all of God's love for us. And this love from God ought to propel us to love God as well.